Welcome back, everyone. Next, we have Brenmiller Energy Limited. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol BNRG and helps energy-intensive industries and power producers end their reliance on fossil fuel boilers. Brenmiller's patented bGen thermal battery is a modular and scalable energy storage system that turns renewable electricity into zero-emission heat. Please welcome Nir Brenmiller. Welcome back to the conference, Nir. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anna. Great. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So give us a little overview of Brenmiller.
We are a clean tech company that was founded by a team coming out of Siemens in renewable energy. Been doing it for many years. We came out of thermal solar, and we saw 15 years ago a massive need for a new type of battery. People often don't realize that the major part of energy globally is heat. Heat that goes to industrial applications, heat for district heating. It's by far the largest single source of energy use. And if you want to decarbonize it, if you want to shift it to renewables that are intermittent, you need a buffer, you need a battery, and it's not your day-to-day lithium-ion iPhone-like battery or Tesla car battery. It's something that stores heat. So we went out, invested $40 million of our own capital for beginning, and started developing this solution that actually stores heat in crushed rocks. You charge the system when the sun is shining, when the wind is blowing, or when the grid is available in terms of tariff. You can buy it off peak, and then you can discharge industrial steam, hot air, thermal oil, whatever you need, and actually replace boilers. That boilers are the single largest energy user or consumption globally. And we enable industries, your food and beverage company, your brewery, to ditch their emitting gas or oil boilers and go into clean electricity. And we do it mainly as a service. We have invented and developed, and we are producing this technology, but just as an enabler to offer a cutting-edge model where you pay for your heat as a service. And that's actually our focus today and the stage we are in.
Fantastic. Well, there's been some recent news out there, and they seem to be some clear value drivers. So let's start with this deal with Tutco. I mean, it seems it might spur on some near-term monetization. Talk a little bit about that deal.
So we are putting all the building blocks in place to go to substantial growth. We are in the early growth stage, and we need to provide the service. So we have the technology. Now we need to have strategic partners, from CapEx partners to finance partners, so we can actually offer these services. Tutco is a huge manufacturer of heating elements, and it's a key component in our system, and we wanted to be sure that we have a strong partner. If we want to grow exponentially, you need strong suppliers and turn them into partners, and this is what we did with Tutco.
Fantastic. And talk a little bit about the deal that happened prior to that with the Germany-based Entelios AG. What was that about?
Well, we have an amazing situation where for a single system, we have two paying clients. We have the off-taker, this factory who needs heat, but we also have the grid. The grid operator is actually paying us to ease the grid in certain hours. So we can either buy electricity at low tariffs, but in many cases, we can get paid to download electricity when the grid is congested, when the wind is blowing and there is low demand, for example. And if you will not get rid of these extra electrons, the grid will be congested. So we get paid, and Entelios is a huge trader in Germany, and they will assist us in models where we can get paid from the grid. So we know it's a business that is complex, and you don't want to eat the whole cake, at the first bite. So we are taking partners also on the grid management side that will enable us to earn money from the grid, but do it in a responsible way with people who has been doing it as their profession for years.
And talk a little bit about TES energy. It seems like there's been decades high demand for this type of energy.
Yeah.
And how you're strategically involved in this opportunity.
Well, luckily for us, in the last 2-3 years, we see many new players that are driving the whole ecosystem towards clean heat and providing it with the storage, because you can't just connect to the grid today. If you want to have an electrical heater, you can't just connect to the grid because you won't get a grid connection. The grid is too congested, and you can't rely on peak hours rates because you will lose your business. You can't source electricity at peak demand. So these thermal storage solution, TES, thermal energy storage, are blooming and booming. And I think that we are a market leader in that sector. We are ready to deploy, as we have already in place a full supply chain. We are fully vertically integrated company, but you see other players coming into this play, and it means we are doing something good. If you have competition, if you have other players that are doing similar things, it means you're in a good business. If you're on your own, you need to check yourself. So the whole industry is booming. We saw investments to early stage companies coming from BlackRock and Temasek, which is really a paradigm in this sector, and we are proud to be one of the in this sector.
We might be having some technical difficulties. Stay with us.
Yeah, I had a hiccup with my internet. You hear me okay?
Yes, you're overseas,
Okay.
correct? That usually is what it is. Okay, no problem. Just go on.
Okay. Where did you lose me?
Well, I think you were finishing up your last point.
Well, I was just saying that the whole sector is boiling hot. Mm-hmm. We see investors coming out of giants like BlackRock and others, and Breakthrough Energy. Bill Gates is actually personally invested in all the 4 US-based companies. Most of the companies are private companies that are traded in the billions, and not traded, but raising capital in valuations that are billions. And I believe that we are a market leader, and we are fully vertically integrated company ready to deploy. We have manufacturing plants. We have local partners. We have offices around the globe, and we are ready to massive growth in this. Really, I mean, it's boiling hot now because we can provide an alternative to natural gas that is 100% clean without extra cost to the end users. So it's a win-win offering.
And talk about the apparent valuation gap. Investors, including your family, the Brenmiller family, have over 40 million invested, and you already have significant infrastructure in place. So talk about how this sets Brenmiller apart from other similar priced companies out there.
Well, I can talk about our company. I think that we have built an amazing business ready to deploy in a massive scale. I think that only our production floor is valued more than the company in the market. We have put in place a network of partners, of future clients. I think that our valuation gap is just insane. But I can maybe blame it on the pace things are moving. This is a slow business. We are in a conservative space. It takes time to deploy the first systems, but we have shown that we already signed the first 3 deals that are fully commercial. We have 4 pilots behind us already with the largest names of the industry, like New York Power Authority and Enel. And I think that it's just a matter of time. So not in the 3rd deal, maybe in the 4th deal or the 5th or the 6th, the market will realize that we are monetizing on this just under $500 million pipeline. And it's been a rough 2 years for microcap. It's really hard to get attention, but I really hope that things are moving and we can get the right attention, because I believe we have created an amazing business that is well undervalued.
And talk a little bit about your competitive position in the EU. That must be an interesting place to be, especially with this TES technology.
Yeah, actually, the EU is the market. Even the US companies are mainly focusing on the EU markets now. Few vectors behind it. First, the Ukraine-Russia situation is driving volatile prices for natural gas and high prices. The US is selling LNG, and the prices in Europe are much higher for natural gas. Second, there is a decision in the EU to shift from natural gas. You have targets, you have emission caps, you are paying fines. So actually, our value proposition for the same system in the EU today is dramatically higher than any other place in the world. You have the regulation in place where you can connect to the grid and serve the grid, as I mentioned, in these grid services of capacity and grid balancing. And I think that also the amount of renewables, the high penetration of renewables, you can source low cost electricity. Okay, you can source it at 2 a.m., but we don't care. We only need 4 hours a day to fully charge the system. We don't care when. So we can source electricity really at really low tariffs, and we can provide steam at really high tariffs. So that's an amazing offering for us and the EU, all across the EU, by the way. Every place you have high penetration of renewables, you need something to balance the grid, and you have customers who need to decarbonize, and it's all across Europe.
And in addition to your competitive position, talk about how you're leveraging product advantages over others.
Well, we convert electricity to heat at 97% efficiency. That's best in class. That's a staggering number. We invest a lot of capex to do so, but we believe that the efficiency and the OPEX are actually the important part of the business. And as I mentioned, if you are earning money also from taking down electricity, you need to be really good at taking down electricity down from the grid and be able to do it really fast. I believe that we are very good in taking the electricity in fast. Do it so you can charge the system at really fast pace. And we are the only fully vertically integrated company. We take in raw materials into our gigafactory and we put out systems. I believe that's an advantage. And I also believe that we are maybe the most commercial viable ready company out there, with 4 pilots behind us and 3 signed projects that are in construction now. And companies and corporates are looking for something that is safe in terms of, engine hours. And I think that we are the best in the market in terms of engine hours.
And tell us a little bit more about the world's first gigafactory for batteries.
Yeah, so we have built a 4 gigawatt hour factory, fully automated. It was financed by the European Union through the EIB. It's already fully commissioned, and it's manufacturing the first 3 projects now. And we are really excited about it. It's in the Industry 4 standards. All environmental aspects are treated, and this is one of our secret weapons. We can, as I mentioned, just source materials and manufacture everything on our own.
And there's been some recent recognition that's pretty remarkable. 2023 Time Magazine named its bGen system Best Invention in the green energy category. Brenmiller has also been named an innovation champion at the European Investment Bank's Adventure Debt Summit. And you were a finalist in Bloomberg's BNEF Pioneers competition, and also received multiple honors at the 2023 Energy Storage Awards. So congratulations on all that. And what's the significance of all of that for you and potential investors out there?
It's just nice for our shelf. We care about revenues. And it means you're doing something in the right way. I think it's also something for the whole sector, that you could get a spotlight for the whole sector. but we are thankful, grateful, but we push hard towards revenues and clients. I think that's the best trophy you can get, to sign AAA clients, and I hope that in 2025 we can discuss in our call the brand names that we have signed this year.
Absolutely. And if you can address some speculations about investors might be pressuring the stock based on an expected capital raise, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I don't know. It's a crazy market. We just announced today that we have closed the pipe of $1 million, and the investor is an existing institutional investor, is going with us for a couple of years, so it can show the trust they show for the company. So I think that if people are putting pressure on the stock, they can ease the pressure, because we just raised capital. On top of it, they have the right to invest another $2.45 million when the stock hits $2.5, and today we are, around 70 cents. So these smart investors believe the stock is going to be up to $2.5 soon. So I think it's also a good indication. I can't predict, the investors, the market. All I'm trying to make sure is that more people buy the stock than people sell the stock. I can tell you that we are an amazing company with great future, and that we are listed and traded for almost free. It's almost crazy. I forgot mentioning that in the company we already invested $130 million. So you have a company that with a gigafactory in place, with a pipeline that is under $500 million, that $130 million were invested to develop a technology that is best in class and working according to plan, and is listed for $5 million, and each investor can do his own calculation and math.
A few questions about your product. Santos wants to know, to what capacity can the generators replace traditional power? Are you saying that they can run commercial establishments on their own?
We replace boilers. We generate heat and steam that is charged from electricity. In terms of scale, we can go to giga scale. We can start from small system relatively and go to gigawatt scale. We don't do really small systems in terms of commercial decisions. We don't want to treat projects that are too small, but we have no limitation on project size.
And Valentina asks if your systems are zero carbon output, zero carbon footprint?
Not footprint. Zero carbon. We source clean energy. On site, we are zero. In Europe, we are considered zero emission because the grid is considered zero emission.
And Ahmed asks, how do you charge a customer? What does the revenue model look like?
He pays per megawatt of steam. We have a counter, and like you are paying your bills at home, he pays his bill on a monthly basis according to his demand or actual use, but they also got take or pay mechanisms, of course. They can just not use the system.
And Darren asks if there are certain grants you can tap for green energy to alleviate the need to tap the markets.
Absolutely. So all our business models are not considering the grants, but there is not a single project we are not submitting to a grant. So we don't want the business to rely on grants, but absolutely in the upcoming years, you can get a grant for every project in the EU because we are right in the heart of the EU targets. Decarbonization of the industrial sector is the center of the European Green Deal.
I bet. And Jordan wants to know, what does your sales channel look like? How do you scale?
We already have in place JVs and distributors globally. So we have a distributor under the name of Rock Energy in the East Coast in the US. We operate through Madrid in Europe. We have local representatives almost in every country. and we are forming JVs. We are not growing organically with our sales team. We have JVs with distributors, and this is how we are scaling up fast.
And Kevin wants to know, should investors expect to see any top-line revenue by second quarter of 2025?
I'm not sure I can refer to it as it's inside information.
And talk a little bit about Q1 of 2025. Talk a little bit about some new deals that might drive revenue or anything that's a positive outlook for you guys coming up pretty soon.
We have a massive pipeline. Some of it will convert fast, some of it will convert in the mid-range, and some of it will convert in the longer range. I think that we're in a position where we are in the early growth. We have not made any significant promises to the market because we want to deliver and not talk. And now the future, the near future, the medium-term future will be mainly announcements about either deals, contracts, partnerships, or any strategic alliance or cooperation because that's the stage that we are. So yeah, I'm optimistic about positive news because that's the stage we're in now.
Fantastic. Last question. This just came in. Kenny wants you to discuss the dual revenue model just a little bit more, if you can.
Yeah. So when we are putting a system for a food and beverage company in Germany, we get paid from the client by the tons of or megawatts of steam they demand. We get paid from the grid operator for capacity payments, meaning please be ready throughout the year so I can download excess electricity from the grid. So these are fixed payments that you get throughout the year just for you to be ready to absorb electricity. And then you have activation payments where you are actually asked to download electricity from the grid. And on top of it, you can add grants that are pretty common. And you have 4 lines of revenue for a single system, which is pretty nice. And the returns are, I believe, will be pretty aggressive.
And Kevin wants to know, what's the general turnaround time from signed contract to finished deployment?
A year.
Okay, great. Well, Nir, do you have any closing remarks for our viewers today?
First, thank you for listening. I think that we are an extremely interesting company, well undervalued in the early growth stage. Stay tuned to future announcements as we are in a very nice period where we are signing contracts and pushing hard. And I hope that by our next call, we can discuss, the new projects.
Absolutely. I hope as well. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you. Have a great year. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. And we'll be right back at the top of the hour with our next presenter.